as we know them that happened this morning.
All right. Let me just start off by saying that I'm a person who believes very, very strongly in the power of prayer, and that prayer changes things. And so I'm going to ask everyone, please join me in praying for the families, folks who lost their lives today. Pray for the speedy recovery for those who are hurt and injured in what happened today. But maybe even more to the point, we're a country and a city that needs prayer. So I'm going to ask you all to join me also in praying for this city, that we can come together at a time like this, and that we can be there for one another the way we always have in times like this. Support one another, help us all get through this very difficult time, not just in our city, but in our country. And that's why I'd ask you to pray for our nation. There's a lot going on right now in our country. A lot of it's confusing. It's a scary time. I've got children. I've got 3 young children. And I'm here to tell you that it is challenging to explain to them what's going on in our country right now. But I said before, and I'll say it again, I believe in the power of prayer to change things. And it can change the hearts of people. It can change this country, it can change the city. So please pray for everyone who was affected by today's tragedy. I also want to say thank you to the Dallas Police Department, and say thank you to the Dallas Sheriff's Department, Dallas County Sheriff's Department, Texas Department of Public Safety, and all of our various federal law enforcement partners acted so quickly today to make sure that today's tragedy wasn't worse than what it was. So on behalf of the city of Dallas, I want to say thank you to all of you. You're going to hear from some of those folks later, but I wanted to let you know that we appreciate what you all do, not just today, but every day, to help keep us all safe. And lastly, and this is really important, I would ask all of you, all the city of Dallas residents who can hear me right now, let's be patient, let's remain calm, and let's let our law enforcement partners, our police department, do their job. This is an active investigation. There's still a lot of unanswered questions. And I want to encourage all of you to exercise a little bit of restraint and allow them to do their job to help make sure this continues to be a safe city, and that they can help us figure out what happened here today. But with that, I want to say, again, thank you to all the folks who came out this morning from our law enforcement community. I'll turn it over to our police chief, Daniel Como, to speak a little bit more directly to the investigation itself. And with that, Como, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Today at approximately 6:40 a.m., we received a city officer call. We responded to the call, got to the scene, and we later learned that we had 4 individuals that were shot, 2 of them deceased, including the shooter. DPD quickly was able to locate the shooter, who was deceased. We're going to be working this investigation shoulder to shoulder with our federal partners. The FBI is on scene, and right now I'm going to introduce you to the SAC of the Dallas Field Division, FBI Joe Rothrock.
Good morning. My name is Joe Rothrock. I'm a special agent in charge of the Dallas FBI first start by thanking our partners in local law enforcement, specifically the Dallas Police Department, for their quick and timely response. I can confirm at this time that the FBI is investigating this incident as an act of targeted violence. It is unfortunately just the most recent example we've seen of targeted violence. To include here in North Texas, where back on July 4th, we saw a coordinated attack carried out against an immigration detention center in Alvarado, Texas. What I can also share with you is that early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack. This will be a whole of government response. There will be no resource not utilized to bring all those individuals who are responsible to bring them to justice and to hold them accountable. While we're not releasing identities of any victims at this time, what I can confirm for you is no members of law enforcement were hurt during this attack. If any member of the public has information that would help the FBI's investigation, I would ask that you please report that to 1-800-CALL-FBI. Again, any piece of information will be helpful, but this will be an ongoing investigation between us, a number of federal partners, and our local partners, again, to ensure that anyone responsible is held accountable. With that, I will turn it over to my counterpart from the ICE Enforcement and Removal Office.
Good morning. My name is Joshua Johnson. I'm the acting field office director for ICE Dallas. I'll be brief with my comments, but I do want to start off by saying thank you to the Dallas Police Department, Dallas FBI, HSI, CBP, ATF, and virtually every law enforcement officer in Texas for your support. This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities, and I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, when they're coming in, they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. That's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop. It's dangerous. People are losing their lives.
Thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Again, thank you all so much. As it was said here today, if you do have any information, reach out to 1-800-CALL-FBI.
This needs to stop. Violence is wrong. Politically motivated violence is wrong. It was 2 weeks ago today that we saw a political assassination in Utah that tore the heart out of much of this country. This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP. This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree, that's fine, that's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis. We need to learn to work together without demonizing each other, without attacking each other. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of law enforcement. I want to say thank you to the brave men and women of ICE and CBP and everyone who puts their lives on the line to keep us safe. The divisive rhetoric tragically has real consequences. I hope that every one of us will pray. Number one, for the safety of law enforcement that are risking their lives to keep us safe. Number two, for the health of those who were shot and injured today. We still don't know the full details of who was injured, but for the families also of the victims of this shooting. Violence has no place. It is wrong. And we should come together. If we want to have a debate about immigration policies, we can do so in the halls of Congress without demonizing each other, and especially without demonizing the men and women who every day put on a badge and go risk their lives to keep us safe. And we should not be putting language out there that inspires madmen to commit evil crimes. Our prayers are with the men and women of law enforcement, and we ought to come together and have some decency across the political aisle to say this violence is wrong and it needs to stop.
Senator, have you been told that immigrant detainees were the victims of today's shooting?
My understanding is the details of who the victims are still being ascertained, so I don't want to go ahead of law enforcement releasing these details. What they have said is that no law enforcement was injured, and so that's a natural inference, but I don't know.
Special Agent, can you talk a little bit about some of the evidence you mentioned earlier, just for clarity? I think there could be a lot of questions. Our understanding is that some of the shell casings had specific writing that was relevant to the voting. Can you give us more information?
So I'm not going to go into any more details at this time. We will come back to you when we have more details to share. Again, our goal here will be transparency as those details become available. But we are still in the early stages of an investigation. Information is still coming in. When we have more details, we will come back to this group.
And just clarity as well on the victims. I mean, I think it's a question that people keep asking. We just get clarity to make sure we're reporting and transparency for the victims.
I'm not going to be identifying victims at this time. The only thing I will confirm at this time is no law enforcement was injured. Certainly you can respect law enforcement's need to make notification.
Well, why are we not saying that they were the detainees that were shot?
At this point in time, we're not going to take any additional questions from law enforcement. Again, I'd like to ask for you to respect the fact that this is an ongoing investigation. And as more details become available,
We're not asking for the names of the victims here. You're
I
just trying to get a
understand.
general sense of if the victims are the detainees.
the only thing I can say right now is that no law enforcement was injured this morning as part of the attack. I won't be taking any more questions, neither will law enforcement this time. We'll come back to you later today.
Other than law enforcement,
Can you hold us at the
Thank you.